y'all for subscribing and watching the video. Today we talking about Jocko and Macho Buck. But before I get into that, I want to say a quick thing like, treat people good. It goes a long way how you treat people. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the way you treat people go way further than, well, all the time. The way you treat people go way further than money and all that stuff, man. But anyway, treat people good. This little story is about how a man treated me good. And I'm talking about it in 2021. Something happened in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you how I met an old school dog, man. And I didn't even realize who I was meeting at the time. But I'm going to tell you how I met him, Mr. Claude Puckett. Alright, I had a partner back in the 90s that was making some money moves in a little town called Hemingway, South Carolina, back in them days. Alright, so he came back to the house where I was at. And when he came back, he had a white, looked like pit bull in the car. And you know what I'm saying, he knew I was in the dog, so he gave it to me, or whatever. Alright, the dog was basically a bulldog and a pit bull mix. Big white, cow patch, brindle spots on him. His name was Hog Catcher. You know what I'm saying? I ended up keeping that dog. He was one of my favorite dogs at that time, you know what I'm saying? Because I really didn't, I was super green. Green ain't even the name for what I was at that time. I was whatever you call before you even get green. But anyway, I had Hog Catcher, and somehow or another, we was trying to buy some more dogs from the dude, but he ain't had no more for sale. So he said he knew a guy down there where he stayed at that had pit bulls. So he showed my homeboy where Mr. Claude stayed at. Alright, so we went on there, and man, we went in the backwoods, and you know, we were staying in the city limits at the time. So we going all down the back road or whatever. When we get to the house, and Mr. Claude came out, introduced himself. We introduced ourselves first, basically, because we was coming on his property, and told him we wanted to check out some dogs. We heard he had dogs or whatever, and you could hear the dogs and see the dogs in his yard. So he introduced himself, and I'm not gonna lie, man, Mr. Claude didn't know us from ass and Adam, you know what I'm saying? But we were some young guys or whatever, and looking at it now, I know he knew we didn't, and as he talked to us, he knew we didn't know what we was talking about, but he accepted us, and he treated us right, you know what I'm saying? He ain't say, oh, get out my yard, or what y'all here for, this and that, this and that. Mr. Claude treated us right. He took us he had a pond and had dogs all around the pond. Red dog, orange dogs. He ain't had no black dogs that I can remember. Yellow buckskin dogs or black mass, and he was explaining us, telling us about the stories and this and that. And I mean, it was cool, man. It was all, you know what I'm saying? It was good back then, you know what I'm saying? And I just had to tell this little story because I really didn't understand who I was meeting until I got older, that was Mr. Claude Puckett, same Mr. Claude Puckett who got Puckett's Dixie Belle in a lot of y'all's pedigrees, who got some of that heavy Red Boy Jocko stuff. Puckett's Dixie Belle. She's credited for producing some great Red Boy Jocko hounds. Some that made champion and put on the pause list. So but yeah, I was talking to Mr. Puckett, and he made me feel at home. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say anything out the way. And I don't know what kind of person he was outside of before I met him. You know what I'm saying? I can't say how he treated the next person. All I know is with me, he treated me with utmost respect. And that's why I had to do this little video or whatever, because people like, you know, back then you could ride around and you see people with dogs, you pull over and talk to them, and you know, never know who it'd be or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It was a whole lot more interesting, and it was funner to do that than it is to communicate back and forth on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You can holler at me, or I can holler at you back and forth on Facebook. That's cool. I can show you pictures, this and that. But when you roll up on a house or roll up on somebody that you never knew, a dog, man, and you see a whole different bloodline, and then you sit there talking to him, man, that junk is like starting school on the first day with a fresh new outfit or something like that, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, Mr. Claude, and later on, I think it was probably about 2015 or something like that. This was in the 90s when all this was going on. But like 2015, I think I was just wondering what was going on with him, wondering was he still living and everything. I called his house and I talked to his wife. She was super nice. She said she remembered who I was. And she told me he was in the nursing home at the time. I haven't talked to her since then, so I'm not sure if he's still living. Hopefully he is. But like I said, that's a nice person I met. I ain't got nothing but good things to say about Mr. Claude. like I say, treat people good because you never know who you're dealing with when you're dealing with people. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know me. I didn't know him. But we got to know each other. And now that I look back, we bought 2 dogs from Mr. Puckett. 2 puppies. They were about 7 months old. One was like an orange color like Macho Buck, and the other was like a chocolate color with like light color, yellowish color eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even sure what the pedigree was on those dogs. But, because I can't remember, but now that I look all the stuff Mr. Puckett was dealing with, it had to be something off that cotton ham stuff, or either off of yellow, one or the other. Some of that, or either burner stuff, some of that stuff. I'm not even sure what it was off of, but those was the good old days, man. And like I said, I ain't gonna keep you too long. I ain't gonna hold you too long. We about to get into the Jocko versus Macho Buck. And like I say, the winner on all these competitions, the winners will compete against each other to get a winner of all winners. So stay tuned. Jocko versus Macho Buck. Let's go. When I first started doing the research on the Macho Buck versus the Jocko, I said, man, maybe this might not be a fair matchup, man. But I'm just gonna let y'all see how this go, or whatever. I'll let y'all be the judge. Anyway, first we got Grand Champion Macho Buck. When I first did the verses for Jocko and Macho Buck, it was a couple things I didn't realize. You know what I'm saying? Like I said earlier, I really didn't think it would be fair once I start researching. You know what I'm saying? But some things are coming to a head. Some people say Macho Buck was thorough up until the point Chico Lopez got him. And listen to Mr. Lopez on this video of his saying that Macho Buck didn't produce anything until he got him.
Legacy, his real legacy, okay? He did not produce anything special. I can tell you this, and I can go into details in other videos, but I'll tell you right now, never got his balls off. Belonged to me for some time because he was given to me. Says, you keep the dog. If you ever were able to produce anything, all we want is one breeding to his half-sister. I got him. I said, I'm going to do some testing. I
did some tests on him. And after that, I guess he had it rolling. Now, truthfully, all that just go back to what I was saying about him coming to get the puppies from over here. Pure Red Boy Jocko puppies from over here. And incorporating it into his program, throwing away the papers. But no, y'all say I'm clout chasing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Right. I don't speak it like Chico. Chico speak it way better than me. Yeah, Chico got that mouthpiece. He can speak it better than me, but something ain't right in the pudding. I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, Macho Buck was off the famous 357 dog that everybody know him. And Macho Buck was considered to be the best finisher since Chavis Jocko. But the thing is, Macho Buck will have to have his shit together when it comes to Chavis Champion Jocko, who hunted through 77 and 80, the years 1977 and 80. This dog bred by Mr. Bob Ross was considered to be one of the best finishers many dog men had ever seen. Unlike Macho Buck, this dog made more reputable breedings and was credited for starting half of the Red Boy Jocko line. Breeding back to his daughter and taking a female off that litter, breeding it to the great Red Boy is what made the infamous Red Boy Jocko line today. There were other reputable dogs off Jocko's litter as well, like Apples and Argo. And Jocko bred back to Apples and made Super Nance Boots, Champion Toro, and Chavis Champion John Boy. Word was, Jocko was a rearing assassin and was bred many different ways to create lines that are in our lines today, including the termite line. Jocko pups were known to be wide open, kind of like the Malinois. If you don't give them something to do, they get destructive. They're wide open. Alright, so when I start tallying up the points, Grand Champion Macho Buck versus Champion Jocko, breeding. There's no way Macho Buck can, stick with Jocko on the breeding wise. Jocko is just king of the breeding. The next one will be genetics. Now, when it comes to that, it's kind of funny because I think Macho Buck produces better dogs when it comes to looking like him than Jocko did, but I wasn't in the era of Jocko, so I really can't say. But the actual look of Macho Buck can be seen more than the look of Jocko and his dogs. But I can't say because I wasn't in Jocko era, and by the time I got to the Jocko dogs, you know, it was grandsons and stuff like that, and great grandsons and different things like that. So I'm gonna give both of them a point on that, on genetic wise. Macho Buck get it, I think, because he produced dogs that look like him and probably hunt like him. But Jocko gonna get it because, like I say, the proof is in the pudding. Year after year after year, it's 2021, and we still got good blood from a dog from the late 70s, early 80s. The next category, offspring, Macho Buck made some good ones, but there's no way he can compete with Jocko. It's nothing for me to explain. There's no way he can compete with Jocko on offspring. That's why I started thinking at one point this may be a little unfair, but I'm not even gonna bring Red Boy into the situation. We just talk straight Jocko. We're not gonna bring no Red Boy into it. Straight Jocko. And Jocko was the better offspring, had better offspring than the next category, verification. I think both dogs can be verified, but it goes back to the thing with Chico Lopez. It goes back to the thing with Chico Lopez and the dog being sterile until Chico Lopez get the dog. So Jocko wins on that, even though he's from an earlier time frame. It's a little something fishy going on with Macho Buck being sterile, and you know, once the hustler get him, now he ain't sterile no more. The next category is timing. Being that Jocko was out in the 70s and 80s, and he still ranks higher than Macho Buck, he wins in that category. Macho Buck is in an era with the internet, he had way more access to way more things than Jocko, but he couldn't produce dogs as well as Jocko did back in the 70s and the 80s. Still to this day, right now today, Macho Buck don't produce dogs like a good Jocko dog. And the next category is the Catahoula. Which one of these dogs a breed better with a bay dog to make you a better hog dog? The Catahoula, to make you a better hog hunting dog. And I think Macho Buck would breed better with the Catahoula than Jocko, because just looking at Macho Buck frame, his color and everything like that, bred with a Catahoula, you're gonna get you some Merle dogs, some orange color Merle, all color Merle, and they're gonna have that Catahoula color with that Macho Buck look. You're gonna have some good hog dogs there. And Jocko was more like, you know, the brown, the black mass. He probably gave you some intense hunting dogs, but looking wise, Macho Buck, Catahoula hog dogs would look better. They'd have had bigger heads, more jaw power. Not necessarily saying their bite power would have been stronger, but they would have had bigger jaws. So I give the Catahoula hog dog breeding to Macho Buck. And as far as my dealings with both of these dogs, I never had a Macho Buck dog, ever, period. So I'm not gonna give you my info on that. But I dealt with a lot of that Jocko stuff, none pure, because from what I hear, there's no such thing as a pure Jocko dog right now. If you know what I'm saying, some people say they got one here and there, but they don't got a pure Jocko dog. I'm talking about pure Jocko from top to the bottom, all the way through your pedigree. No matter if Jocko is 10 generations back. Everything from 10 generations back on up to 2021 better have nothing but Jocko stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? And from what I'm hearing, that's unheard of. But anyway, the closest stuff that I had of Jocko like that, you know, had some Red Boy in it. So, and that was some pretty good stuff. So that's all I can really talk about for, you know, the Jocko and the Macho Buck and comparing the actual stuff that I had, because I didn't have any Macho Buck. But I appreciate y'all for looking at the video, subscribing to the channel, share it with your friends. I'm gonna keep them coming, keep them coming, keep them coming. And like I say, all the winners, at the end of the day, all the winners of the little competition are battling each other, and we'll see how it goes.